we're going to talk about pornography and sexual addictions. So we're going to kick it off right there. I got a little thing that I'm going to put up there for you guys. I thought was quite interesting. Let me pull it up right now. Just the first part of it. Marriage is also not a cure for sexual addiction. It's something that has to be dealt with prior to any relationship and definitely before marriage. This one says pornography is the reason why many women feel insecure about their body and why many men feel insecure if they are not carrying yam inside their trousers. It has really warped and poisoned minds. So I thought this was quite interesting. This one in particular called my attention because I'm thinking about, do men have sexual addictions? Or is it just a nature? I know with porn they have porn addiction, but and then the other part of it was got me thinking like, damn, like should they correct this behavior before hopping into a marriage? Does this affect the marriage? You know, if they're a slut monkey, as real as say, does that slut monkey activity just carry over because they can't control it? So let's talk about it, gentlemen. Pornography and sexual addictions.
Bicentennial Shan, man. Happy belated born day again, man. Salute. Celebrations. Peace unto you, brother.
Happy birthday, Shan.
We saw you dancing, man. Come on, I slept like a rat. We saw you dropping it loads up there, twerking like a thought in Philly. We saw you getting it.
What? I'm fighting it out. Fighting it out.
So hot boy summer just beginning for Shan.
Jesus Christ, it's hot boy summer. Shan, go ahead, tackle first, man. I want to hear your perspective first, Shan.
Oh yeah, well, you know, men. I mean, sexual addiction. Okay, so Halle Berry has been married 3 times, right? David Justice, Eric Benet, and the Italian guy. Halle Berry also has 2 children, none of which are from her husbands. The last one, the Italian, may be one of the fathers, but I'm not sure, right? So she's a baby mama by 2 different men. She has 3 husbands. And I thought that was an interesting thing, but Halle Berry is one of the most desired women in the world. Well, she married one of the most desired singers in the world at the time. She married Eric Benet. But for those that don't know, and for those that are in the entertainment business, a lot of the reasons why her and Eric Benet was having issues was because Eric Benet wanted to fuck all the time. Eric Benet had a sex addiction issue. Now, historically speaking, men oftentimes in the history of man, right? You know, let's get before technology, before the turn of the last century, men got married for the sole purpose of being able to have access to sex on demand. That's how powerful sex is to human beings. I always use Oscar Wilde's phrase, you know, everything in the world is about sex except for sex. Sex is about power, but sex to men is extremely important. And historically, men got married just to be able to have sex. Did I say that? That was a double. Sorry about that. But men got married to be able to have sex. Today, though, with the laws and the, you know, in the civilized world where you can't stone somebody to death because they're not doing what you're asking them to, where there's no oppression like it was back in the day, and where there's choice in or out of marriage, there's a lot of sexless marriages. So if you have an addiction to sex, and say, for instance, maybe it's not necessarily sex. Maybe you have an addiction to orgasms. Maybe you just love busting a nut. And that's why you got to check into Pornhub every once in a while, just to get your mind right, to get your day going. I know, because I was that guy. I used to be that guy. I still check into Pornhub every once in a while now, but back in about 15 years ago, I checked in all the time. What?
Because I needed to clear my mind. That's just what I needed to do. And I know a lot of men can identify with that. Whether they admit it or not, that's okay. I'll be the spokesperson for that demographic. And if you can't get a hold of that and you get married thinking that that's going to be the solution, you might get a rude awakening. Now, here's the rude awakening. There's many different reasons, but I'll give you one that I know
a issue with a lot of married men today, and had been an issue with men who got a divorce. While back in the day you got married to have sex on demand, your wife may not give it to you the way you think you're gonna get it. She'll give it to you, she'll flip it up, she'll keep it wet, she'll turn over, she'll be this super freak while you're dating. Maybe she has a different alternative, maybe she has a different motive to get married than you. Maybe she has an ulterior motive. They say people change, right? Women have children and they change. Women get older and they're changed. Everybody's libido and changes. Women gain weight, they change. They don't feel as sexy as they used to. They want to have sex with a t-shirt on. They want to have sex where they just got to pull a little bit of pants down, but they don't want to get naked. They want the lights off. And then once they get used to you, maybe you just don't get it as often as you can. Do you guys realize how many marriages are current today? We always talk about the divorce rate and all that, but then we don't talk about, we make it seem like the ones that are married today are all happy. That's not the case. Let's remove the ones that got divorced. Now we talking about the small percentage of people, the 40% that's still married, right? Of the 40% of Black people that's still married, that didn't get a divorce, how many of those are actually happy marriages, happy sex-filled marriages? There's a lot of them that aren't. And so there's some men that get sex twice a month, maybe. Whereas when they were dating, they were screwing every day, sometimes multiple times per day. What changed? Duvall talked about this on his podcast. Me and Trill discussed it about 6 months back. We brought that up. There's sexless marriages out there, but the men that got married because they thought they were going to be able to have sex on demand, because your body's my body and my body's your body, and we're going to do it, and we're going to do it when I want it. And she shuts that down. She said, no, you're not getting none of that. Now, of course, men, you're still expected to produce. You're still expected to go to work. You're still expected to do what you're supposed to do. But oftentimes, you won't get what you're looking for when it comes to the sex department. And maybe it's because you don't initiate. It's a lot of different reasons, man. Think about the arguments that you guys heard. Oh, I always initiate. That's a big argument. I hear that when I counsel people. I initiate all the time. He never initiates. Well, I tried to initiate. That right there is upsetting for some people. Well, you didn't ask. Well, you didn't back it up on me like you normally do when we watch a movie. You came to bed with 3 layers of clothes. I wasn't going to even bother. It's all that kind of stuff. But he got married because he thought he was going to have sex all the time. If you cannot get your sexual addiction under control, do not look to marriage as a solution. You got to be under control before you get there. You do.
That's some good
and
shit,
that's one
man.
of the reasons why Eric Benet and Halle Berry broke up.
Folks, y'all need to start turning the lights on, man. You'd be surprised when you're looking at it in the mirror. It should turn you on. Anyhow, all up in it. Anyhow, go ahead, Rio.
I think there's a lot of truth to what Shannon is saying. One of the main things that I thought about, even if we don't think about it in the morning to get your day started, what about at the end of a long day, right? I think there are, certain hormones essentially that are released during masturbation. And people don't always have time to have sex, right? But you still have whatever it is your need is, so to speak. Whether if it's you need to feel happy, or you need to um, essentially de-stress, so to speak. And I think that's a common one. So there's a hormone, I guess endorphins is what they're calling them, right? They kind of help you de-stress. So I see oftentimes people who have a long day, hard day. Maybe the wife is already asleep, whatever it may be, and you still have this stress on your shoulders. So what do you do? You know what I mean? And I think that, I mean, well, obviously you can wake her up, but then there's that other factor. Okay, how do I deal with this myself? And I think that that's what possibly leads to some of these addictions. It starts off as, okay, this is a quick fix, right? And next thing you know, this is a quick fix that you're doing all the time. Pornhub gets a lot of visits, whether or not people want to admit it or not, right? And let's face it, your 9 to 5 guys is stressed out. Matter of fact, maybe you got some guys that are 12 hours in the shift, 16 hours in the shift, and you come home, you try to relax yourself, you try to clear your mind. You know what I mean? And sex is not always readily available. So how do we get rest? Right? Some might smoke, some might pour a drink, some is going to click on that Pornhub. Sometimes some people need all of the above. You know what I mean? But there's a lot that it may take to relax you so that you can get rest and prepare for the next day. I think that if, our spouses are able to help us with that regularly, and their schedules allow, um, that improves the bond, that improves the connection. Um, and there's not so much of a need to self medicate, so to speak. Um, but like I said, life doesn't always work out that way to where you both have time all the time. So I think it leads to some alternatives, and I'm sure the women have alternatives too, right? So yeah, that's my take on it. I think I know exactly what's happening and what's going on, but what is your solution? What is your resolve? I don't know, But when we were talking about this topic, I immediately start thinking about, okay, well, what hormones are being released? And so I looked into it. Dopamine, endorphins, oxytocin,
Mhm.
testosterone, and prolactin. And
Mhm.
they all have these different purposes, right? Dopamine, this is the happiness hormone. Endorphins, that's the natural pain reliever. How many people come home aching, right? Look, yesterday, so yesterday, I not just worked, but I trained, right? And I trained hard in the gym. I'm talking about one of those hard train where you once you get in the door, you lay out on the floor. You know what I mean? Cause you aching, right? And so some people just deal with that from the back breaking work that they do, right? And so you got that, right? You got oxytocin, that's the love hormone. It's associated with social bonding. And then you got testosterone, that's released during sex. It improves stamina and arousal. We all know about that. Then the prolactin is a hormone that plays an important role in lactation. Prolactin also influences your mood, and your immune system. So there's all these purposes, right? And so I don't think that it's really an issue unless we do it in excess. Anything that's not done in moderation can become a problem. So that's my take on it.
All right. About you, Trill.
Um, I think it's a twofold issue. I think first one being like people need to get with people who got similar sex drives as they got. I think it's a lot of lying in the beginning of these relationships because you like the person so much. So say for instance, your sex drive may not be as high, theirs is. You like this person a lot. They bring a lot of intangibles to the table. Y'all have fun together, all of that. So you'll step up to the table and do what you need to do in terms of pleasing this person because you don't want to lose them. Whole time your sex drive is not really where theirs is. You know what I'm saying? But you playing a role and then you get into this marriage and now you got to sustain this for the next 40, 50 years and then the ball gets dropped. And once you get married, it's real easy to hide behind, oh, we got kids now. Oh, life got in the way. I got to go to work. I'm tired. I'm this. I'm that. I'm this. I'm that. But when y'all was first chopping it up and kicking it, you know, you was working in. The only thing really changed is kids, which is completely understandable. But it's even ways around that. But people use that as an excuse to hide the fact that my sex drive is not the same as theirs, or vice versa. So I think that right there needs to be fixed at first. Like, don't advertise something that you cannot maintain. I don't care how much that you like somebody, because when you get in that relationship or that marriage and you can't maintain the sex drive that you've been exhibiting throughout this whole courting stage or whatever, that's gonna cause problems. And now this person is feeling resentment. A lot of times may go out and get it in other areas, or pornography, or may even may even hit the streets and supplement it that way. You know what I'm saying? But it's all because you didn't just keep it G from the door and say, look, that's not where I'm at. Let me get with somebody that I'm more sexually compatible with. I think because people like have such trouble communicating sexually, that causes, you know, flags to be missed and signs to be missed in terms of like being on the same page with somebody sexually. You would rather hide it. You would rather front. You would rather lie to them and your damn self in order to not seem less than in the sexual category. You know what I'm saying? Which leads me to the next point, communication. And with sex, even with married couples, it's not good in most married couples, because a lot of times with the communication, it's going to mean that somebody's not doing their job sexually, or that you could improve sexually. And that's like such a sensitive topic on both sides, because, you know, we already know women take everything personal for one, but even with men, like, you know, our sex is tied to our ego. A lot of men will tell you, hey, yeah, you know, just tell me what I need to do and I'll fix it. But it's still going to hurt him. He's still going to be in the back of his head. He thinking, man, when I was shit, but Keisha and Janae had them problems when I was out there doing my thing then. So you got the problem. You know what I'm saying? So it's that, instead of like really sitting down and having like open and honest conversations without judgment. But instead of doing that, people will sweep it up under the rug and just keep not being on the same page. And then the whole time resentment is building until it overflows into cheating or porn addiction. So, you know, I think a lot of this stuff can be solved if people just keep it real and communicate, regardless of how much you like that person. Like, sex is very important. Like, this is something that's not said enough. Like, I sit here and I listen to women on these panels, especially, be like, oh, I can't believe y'all did, like, sex mean that much to y'all? Yes, it does. Because sex can literally break your relationship. We see it all the time. People getting divorced because they getting cheated on, whatever the case may be. Sex is a very important thing, and people need to treat it as such, meaning that it needs to be one of the non-negotiable categories when you're courting somebody. And, you know, since people want to lie and act like it's not, that contributes to a lot of the downfall that happens, you know, once, you know, people clash for not being on the same page. So that's my take on it, man. And, you know, just reading a tweet, you know, it sounded like I ain't gonna lie, man. It kind of sounded like a excuse to me. It kind of sounded like enabling behavior to me. You know what I'm saying? It's like
that's exactly what it was, Trill. You nailed that. That was an excuse. Excuses don't excuse, and explanations don't explain. That was an excuse, Trill, for sure.
Simple and plain, bro. Like Shan just summed it up right there. But yeah, that's my take on it, man. Be real with your partner, because remember, whatever you advertise in that courting stage, you got to maintain this for the next 40 years. That's it. That's all.
Okay. Hey, really, what are your thoughts about it, sir? Who said damn?
I gotta come off mute quick, man. Y'all niggas be reading my lips, man. Pause. Pause. Hey, man, y'all think I'm playing with y'all tonight? Get these likes up, man. Let me say that first. I already told Jay. I said, dude, I'm on one tonight. I'm feeling good, feeling great. You understand what I'm saying? I'm in a good mood. It's my week is starting marvelous already. So here's the deal. We talking about pornography and sexual addictions. There's a lot. And Trill and Shan said a lot, and typically I agree with them. Trill, the last part of what you said, I don't necessarily agree with. You know, if we start out one way, you know, you've been married 12 years, right? And you and wifey, I would imagine y'all are not the same way, and you have not maintained the same way 12 years ago. Now y'all have grown together, and that part I think is key. I think it's people who are married and in committed relationships should grow together. And a lot of times, you know, your expectations change. Me personally, I've never masturbated, don't masturbate. I don't do the whole porn thing. I'm not saying I've never watched porn. I don't do that because I think it's selfish. And for me, masturbating to me touching me, that's nasty. Need somebody else to do that, right? So the thing for me is I look at physicality with females. I look at it three different ways. You either having sex, which is what? Procreation. You specifically getting it at a procreate. And the interesting thing about humans, if I'm one of you scholars will correct me if I'm wrong, but we're the only ones who really engage in like sex and stuff like that for like, we're the ones that really do it like for pleasure.
Gorillas, chimpanzees, and monkeys have sex for pleasure too.
Okay, like I knew one of y'all was gonna jump in there. Correct.
Dolphins.
Okay.
It's a few species out there, but
okay. So there's a few species that do it for pleasure, but the main point that I'm making is do that. Okay, so men and women, I guess. I look at it. I break it down in 3 categories. You either having sex, you fucking, or you making love. Right. Usually, when you're making love to your woman, somebody you care about. Not even talking about the motion in the ocean. I'm just saying there's that level of connection and intimacy where that's the highest form of intimacy, right? And so I don't think in most marriages and even long-term relationships that people are able to sustain that level throughout the duration of their situation. I think it comes, in and out, and that's where the compromise comes in. But I think when you're talking about sexual addiction, I think about, it's funny that Shan went to Eric Benet because, I was thinking about Shan. I was thinking about Kirk Franklin.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Kirk Franklin. And then I also thought about Kanye West. Right? You didn't even touch on, what's your boy that did the jingle for Pornhub at one point? Never felt this way, loving face ass. Brian McKnight. Did a jingle for Pornhub at one point.
Did he? That's the dude
Yes.
they say I look like.
So ultimately, for me, especially when you're talking about marriage and relationships, I think what Trill's saying was spot on. I think that communication is key. I think y'all grow together. And in that, when you do experience that intimacy, it's more or less a reflection or an expression of y'all love for one another, right? But I think when you're talking about sexual addictions and stuff like that, I didn't think old girl was projecting. I think that, and I didn't think it was a cop out either. If I was reading that tweet correctly, I think that is some stuff that male or female that you have to do, because you got females that are nymphos too. You got to address that and deal with that. Because you can't impose those expectations on your partner if you ain't had that conversation with them before. And I just don't think it's realistic for somebody to be able to sustain that for 40 years. So that's my take on it.
Hey, really, the chat was calling you cat when they said you never
Man, fuck
masturbate.
Fuck the chat. I masturbate to your mama and get these likes up. Fuck you talking about? Fuck the chat. Y'all ain't got my likes up. Fuck y'all talking about? What you worry about me masturbating for?
Hey, so JR, let me, if you don't mind, just go ahead and jump on in here.
Pause.
Let me just jump on in here. Unlike Rilla, you know what I'm saying? I'm pulling it out there now and then. You know what I mean? I'm gonna keep it a buck, sir. Yes, I'm on the hub. I'm on X videos, no different little sites.
Oh, really?
Yes, really, JR. Yes, really. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it a thou while. Now, the actual clip that you had up, what was the post where it said, I think it was talking about is why many women feel insecure. I'm with Trill on that. I think it's absolute cap. Because for example, like I said, I don't hide the fact that I watch porn, you know what I'm saying? But I also make sure that my wife doesn't have an insecure bone in her fucking body, and she really does not, right? Additionally, I think when it gets to be too much is when you can't handle your business in the bedroom. There should never be a time when your wife is hitting you up and being like, you know what I'm saying, let's get this shit popping, and you on some shit, I just jacked off. Hell, I'm good. Lame ass nigga. I'ma just call it how I see it. I think that's trash. I think that's when it's gotten to be in excess, you know what I'm saying? Additionally, side note, right? Masturbation actually has several benefits, and I'll just
what?
Yes, and I mean benefits other than you getting off. You know what I'm saying?
You got to elaborate on that question.
Yeah, nah, and trust me, I will.
Because what we talk about all the time is how it can.
So it can help lower your help lower your risk for prostate cancer. It makes you harder. It helps you last longer during sex. It boosts immunity. It boosts your mood, which Rio talked about. It can help you fall asleep. It can increase
So
your
are
lifespan.
you conflating ejaculation with jacking off?
It's
Like I think all the benefits you talking about. I know prostate because that's one of the initiatives for my fraternity through our Kappa Foundation.
from masturbation.
My father had prostate cancer. Orgasms help with that, but I don't know that necessarily masturbation help with that. So, and it sounds like everything that you mentioned is masturbation. So, are you sure it's masturbation or is it orgasm?
Yes, the article that I'm looking at, it says masturbation. It says 10 benefits of masturbation.
Where's that article? Who wrote it?
It's a men's health article.
All right, keep going. I'm all ears.
Okay. Additionally, it can increase your lifespan. It can help improve your skin. That one's a little weird, but and it helps you get to know your body better, clearly, and it improves heart health. Now, I think we shouldn't overlook those things. If somebody's saying you jack your dick too much, well, according to Men's Health, I don't. According to Men's Health, I'm doing it just enough for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to keep my wrist low, baby. Nah. All joking aside, though, all bullshit aside, I think when it gets to be excess, like I said earlier, and you're not able to handle things properly at the crib, then yeah, you need to get your shit straightened out. Now, obviously, that's different for every man. One man, he might be able to go and look at porn all day long and still lay that hammer down. You know what I'm saying? When it's needed. And then another man may watch it once and be fucked up for the whole week. You know what I'm saying? So, figure yourself out.
Quest, throw that article in the back chat. I want to check it out when you get a chance. I know one thing that's not true in that is saying that it helps you last longer during sex. In fact, I believe, and this is my personal belief, that jacking off too much desensitizes you when you actually do get to bed with a woman. And one of the reasons why,
I think that's individual dependent. So here's the other thing too. It depends on when you jack off, right?
We're all humans. I'm speaking on the general, that's if you look at the sun too long, you're gonna go blind. Well, that's not everybody that looks at the sun too long.
Yeah.
If you look at the sun too long, you're gonna go blind. So if you jack off too much, it can desensitize whether it's physical or even mental when you get into bed with a woman. And that's one of the reasons why men who masturbate over a length of time, maybe from childhood all the way into their 40s, start to switch up. You may have started with your right hand, you may end up with your left hand, then you flip it around. There's a lot of different things that you got to change. When you get older and your balls drop, a lot of guys' balls hasn't dropped yet. They usually drop around age 35. Certain things change, so so this stuff is just physiological. And so to say the jacking off improves that, that's the first time I've heard that in 30 years.
Yeah, I think I understand what Shannon's saying, because you can still achieve that when having sex. So maybe the article is speaking of someone that doesn't have sex, saying this is still another way for you to maintain those healthy activities, I guess. I don't know.
And you know what? And also, if it's coming from Men's Health magazine, and we're talking about a current state of men that aren't having sex, men are having less sex than they ever had before. One, you want to sell some magazines. You gotta keep two, you gotta keep people coming, and you gotta make men feel good about the fact that they're not getting no pussy. So if you got a lot of incels, I mean, think about it. Come on, let's keep it 100. If you got to sell some magazines and you got incels reading your magazine and they out in the gym and trying to figure out how to make their pecs bigger and they trying to figure out how to become smoother and how to dress better, and they subscribe to the Men's Health magazine, the magazine is gonna say, yeah, keep jacking off. It's good for you. Keep jacking off, man, because I know you ain't getting no hoes. But so keep, media is a motherfucker, man, and it will indoctrinate us and it'll lead you a whole lot of different ways just for the dollar. Shout out to Men's Health.
You started out one way.
All right, Ricky, take us home, brother.
Why you do this today, man? Why you do this, man? Let's address sexual addiction. Addictions mean it becomes deviant behavior, right? Sexual addiction, somebody being addicted to sex, a nymphomaniac. They're going outside their relationship. We all know that's a problem. Simple and put, simple and plain. But if we're using these verses in accordance to what the tweet said, right? Fuck was she talking about? Fuck what she talking about, right? I'm masturbating because you ain't fucking me enough. Start fucking me, right? Do your motherfucking job. The sex is the glue that holds a relationship together. I don't know what women don't understand about this. It's the glue that holds the relationship together. But in the context of her text, you have a issue with your self-image of your body.
Did you hear what I said?
It's your body. How can I affect your image of yourself? How can I do that? Right? Stop putting it like, what the fuck? Like y'all sit up here and when your man go out and fuck somebody, right? Because you so-called want to blame it on him because he don't make you feel good about yourself. He don't make you feel good about yourself. Then you want to blame him because you not fucking him. What he supposed to do? He was supposed to leave, right? He's supposed to leave, but you supposed to fuck him, right? Are y'all getting in a relationships where you're sexually attracted to your mate? Men and women alike. Because if the article say it extend your life, I'm trying to live forever, goddammit. I'm busting when I can. Fuck you talking about. Right? Otherwise, it's just free fucking lunch. You here because I like you and you cool. What the fuck? We're here to get it in. I'm so sick of people trying to play around that shit. We're animals, no matter what the fuck y'all say, bro. When you take away the bullshit and the societal programming and the shit you was told and learned, you look at a female and what do you say? Damn, I want to hit that pussy, bro. When you see a dude you like, because what y'all be saying, shit critiquing everybody, no disrespect. You know, I got to be attracted to him. I got to be sexually attracted to him. Ooh, look at the Tyrese lookalike in the chat. Who is he? He looks good. He looks great. You sexually attracted to him. Why ain't you fucking? It's real hard for me to jack off 3 times a day if you sucking my dick 3 times a day. It's real hard. So pornography, it's what it's. Hey, this is the world of options. We live in a world of options. Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, you name it, right? You can see a girl with a natural ass or a girl with an ant body. Take your pick. But it's part of the game, right? Y'all expect us to step up and maintain the level and the effort that's required to keep you happy as a woman, to provide and protect for you in this crazy ass world we live in. What the fuck y'all doing?